Welcome to part 6 of our journey toward awakening. Today, we explore the deepest mystery of your existence, the illusion of separation and the truth of unity. We'll discover where your boundaries actually end, why self-love is the beginning of everything, and how to return to a home you never truly left. Let these words dissolve the barriers between you and truth. You are inseparable from the great connector of all that exists. The desire to find logic in disconnection is as pointless as disconnection itself. As long as you see anything as separate, all logic fails and only serves your confusion. The world is united as one and exists within that oneness. This is what you once forgot when you believed that a finger exists apart from a hand apart from a body apart from consciousness. You invented so many labels, breaking the whole into pieces, that you began treating the pieces as independent and separate things. No wonder you started doubting your own connection to the source. You consider your own hair yours only while it's on your head. But as soon as one falls out, it stops being part of your unified body and gets forgotten, as if sent into non-existence. Thousands of your hairs are scattered across the planet, each one containing the complete genetic data of your entire body. You may have forgotten them and can't see them, but did they become someone else's? What is yours remains yours forever. Don't let such a simple example about the body bother you. Where does your body end if you could find everything it has ever released? Wouldn't it cover the entire planet? What about the air that was in your lungs, now being breathed by someone else's chest? What about the warmth your body radiated, warming another's? Where are your boundaries, dear child? Even the body you've identified with so tightly has suddenly lost its limits. And where is your beginning if you can't find your edges? While your body divides and leaves cells all around you, do you feel any less whole because of it? You remain the same no matter how many particles fall away from you. Believe me, child, even losing the body won't diminish your wholeness by a single ounce. So don't cling to it. It has its own place and time reserved in the history of physical life. Don't worry about anything beyond that. See in this sketch about the body a reflection of the Father's presence in every living creation, and everything is alive. Whatever falls away from the source remains the source, because nothing exists outside of it. The picture of the world is unified, and it's only your temporary engagement with fragmented vision that has convinced you that fragments are independent and separate. But even looking from a single point, without seeing limits, you can connect everything visible because you're ready for it, and because it's the only true way of seeing. When the one who sees differences falls silent for a moment, truth rushes in and restores correct vision. In it, you won't see anything you didn't know, but you'll remember the way someone remembers reality when they wake up. Hurry to enter this knowing, because once you do, you'll ask yourself why you waited so long. What seemed foreign to you will turn out to be just involvement in a mistake. And when the mistake is corrected, the ascent home happens. Doubt rarely enters the soul of God's child when it remembers where every decision comes from and who creates the foundation for its fulfillment. As long as this memory is lost, everything will be subject to doubt, and in that state, truth cannot be grasped. Good news is joyful when it's recognized and fully accepted through remembering the single source. But when what's visible gets interpreted through doubt, you only see fragments and draw conclusions that lead you further from the only possible interpretation. Your heart, which holds the memory of unity, guides you along a path where the return home has already happened. But believing in your distance from home, you experience the journey as if it were spread across time and completely dependent on time. In reality, time is the result of believing in separation. And until union with the Father happens within you, time is your inevitable companion. Will someone who has arrived at their true home worry about time once the return is complete? Now, neither the circumstances of the road nor the appointed hour weigh on the traveler. In fact, there's no traveler anymore. Only the keeper of the home remembers the difficult struggles of the journey that brought them to their native land. I use familiar, perhaps overused images, trying to explain what you are and how to discover your true enemy, preventing your return home. But all my words can be captured by your belief in separation and used to build a new scheme of relationship with God, just as far from truth as before. Waiting for the path will become waiting for the final step. Even if you're standing at the very door, you'll wait until your hands are ready to open it. And touching the door, you'll wait for it to swing open. You're capable of building so many obstacles that, attending to them, home will always remain unreachable. I can help you distinguish the voice of truth from the voice of separation, where someone or something always stands in the way of the final goal. You don't remember this goal, so you're always waiting, always on guard, afraid to miss what you're moving toward. Heavy is the fate of a blind hunter who doesn't know which way to cast nets or what will be caught in them. So many complications, for what noble purpose? Does love set traps where a child has gotten lost and cries for home? Doesn't it extend its arms at the child's first call and instantly send all its devoted servants to help the beloved one return to its embrace? You believe the Father is testing you, and until you're ready, there's no place for you in His kingdom. But can something imperfect be part of one who has no flaws? What can a father teach someone who is like him in every way? Isn't it your own thought, naturally arising from believing in abandonment, that once again makes you unable to step across the threshold? You stand at the door waiting for a sign, and your waiting will last exactly as long as your idea of being separated from Him keeps burning. Don't wait for a sign, because it's evidence of your inability to recognize your birthright to ascend home. You fully possess this right simply by acknowledging your presence in God's world. Your desire alone to return to the Father is enough for your blessing to step across the threshold. You deserve this from the very beginning, no matter how unworthy you appear in your own eyes. As long as you keep telling yourself it's not yet time, you'll keep standing at the threshold of a home you never actually left. From the depths of your being rises a pillar of light. You didn't know about it, but I knew it for both of us. While you fought the trials of the world and illusions, I preserved this source for you and saw you only in it. No matter how hard you try to avoid the fact that in our unity, you are like light in every way, you cannot reject the truth. By believing in the presence of a higher order in your heart, you allowed me to preserve what you had left unattended. There's no harm in having forgotten. I remember, and that's enough for both of us. A fatal mistake doesn't exist where the very concept of mistake is impossible. Fully dwelling in truth, you harvest this truth every second without recognizing it for what it is. In God's light, you can see everything as pure, and outside of it, nothing exists. What you leave at the threshold of home will seem so insignificant and small that you'll forget it, like a passing breeze that momentarily distracted your attention from the sun. Your joy will be endless when you look at this handful of dust that currently appears to you as mountains of obstacles and cliffs of suffering. Your ability to see the world in truth will heal your attraction to suffering, and you'll marvel at how close to it you always were, believing you were infinitely far. Releasing your sense of victimhood is possible at any moment, but along with it, you'll have to release the perception of the world as a prison and the body as a cage. By sweeping from your consciousness everything that makes you separate from truth with one broad gesture, you would heal not only yourself, but everyone God places in the world with you, who are your particles. Disappointment is only possible where there's belief in the unfairness of divine decision for you. Once you grasp that such a mistake doesn't exist, and that every decision of His comes from the love you forgot about, you'll no longer try to punish yourself. Because by punishing yourself, you once again lead both me and the image of your Father to Golgotha. What joy is there for you in feeling abandoned? Just habit, nothing more. But behind habit, as behind warped glass, everything appears distorted. You shine with an otherworldly light. Only in it does the Father see you. But until you see your own true light, what can reveal it to you? Perhaps in other parts of yourself scattered around the world, you'll glimpse what doesn't go out in you either. See the divine spark in another's eye. Then you'll see the pillar of divine light in your own. When there's no sense of unity, there's no fulfillment of the purpose in which you reveal your only mission. When unity is restored, the mission is fulfilled. The verdict you pronounced on yourself is abolished. Entry into light is complete. You're free to be yourself, however you want to see yourself, because you have no other desire than to restore your divine greatness and become like your source in every way. And with this being, all the world's harmony will fill in the damaged areas into the picture of unified light in which it was conceived. The hand you lost sight of is always extended to you, waiting for your decision. But without honestly admitting that you fear this help, fear of unity cannot be overcome. By admitting that you built walls between yourself and truth, you'll finally see them and laugh at how insignificant they are. They're nothing but thoughts. And if you built them with just one thought, they can be destroyed by that same power. You're pressed to the ground under the crushing weight of self-hatred, because the power of self-hatred, like the power of love, is yours and comes from you. With the greatest dedication, you attack yourself daily, every minute, not letting yourself escape from under this heavy burden. Your attack is so merciless and desperate, your blows so precise and unerring, that there's not a moment's rest in this battle to see the picture of this brutal massacre and examine it carefully. Your feelings toward yourself can only be called hatred, but you'll resist this judgment, because admitting such an attitude toward yourself means questioning all self-knowledge and every foundation in life. No, beloved child, whatever you think about self-love, you're extremely far from it, only because you believe love is a response to abilities, a response to actions, a response to qualities and traits, a response to thoughts. That's why you're eternally searching for a stimulus to trigger your responsive love. You believe that with the right circumstances, it will arise and become a response to something that's currently absent or lost. If you knew love in its true light, you wouldn't respond with inner pain to every failure and wouldn't attack yourself, trying to squeeze your image into someone else's molds. If you dwelled in self-love, would the world need to reflect your battle? And would you need to respond with your whole being to every such reflection? The battle won't end until you see yourself as whole and your qualities as perfect. In self-love, as in your true home, You're accepted absolutely as you are, with what you create and think. The only thing that can free you from the oppression of self-hatred is a situation where you're forced to be helpless. Old age, illness, death, and returning to the world in an infant's body are the world's response to your inability to love yourself. The simpler and easier your achievements, the more you can enjoy your successes and value everything within you. Remember how glad you are for your first steps after a serious illness, how happy you are for free breathing after a cold, how pleased you are with a short walk after a long forced rest, how simple tasks and modest accomplishments seem impressive after a period when all ability for them was lost. Self-love makes you value every breath of your body and every movement. Dwelling in it, will anything external become important enough to deprive you of the blissful joy of accepting yourself? Self-love is full of gratitude of such high purity that all criticism and all judgment dissolve in it. The strictness toward yourself that forces you to attack yourself and demand something that's absent in this moment will seem absurd, something you'll easily let go of. Love will cleanse you of demands to be someone else, allow you to look at yourself with eyes full of wonder and awe. The foundation of your existence will be set right when you make self-love not a goal, but a source. Self-love is the beginning of understanding your relationship with God. Learning to look at yourself through the eyes of the source is a lesson within your power. Having gained this necessary foundation, you'll be able to see the invisible world of true interactions and know the beauty of the only wise decisions. Your presence in this world is joyful, not burdensome. You're not punished or sent into exile, not abandoned or in banishment. You're wholly with me, and we've never been apart. Both in moments when you don't think of me, and in those when you desperately try to find me, and in those when you forget about any connection between us, we are one. Doesn't this news bring you blessed peace? Doesn't it lift the heavy burden of loneliness from your shoulders? Aren't you glad for our unity that leads us both to our Father's dwelling? The Father has unfolded all layers of existence before your eyes, but you crave more. Understand the principle of how reality is built, and all craving will disappear. Only an amazed observer will remain, noticing everything the Lord gives for admiration. Within you is great power, in every way like His, and everything that's yours is from Him. How many offerings the Father makes to you every second, listening to you in everything and responding with feeling. If you served Him with even a millionth of how He serves you, you would understand true selflessness, in which any ego is stillborn. It's not the thought of abandonment that saddens you. You don't really believe in it anymore. What saddens you is your inability to respond to your source with the same power He gives you. You can't create the birth of love of divine power within yourself for only one reason. You fear it, as you fear everything unknown that didn't come from you. But if you look more carefully at what you are, you'll instantly discover that nothing in you is yours, and certainly nothing so familiar that it would give the peace of divine steadfastness. Everything of yours is from Him, and therefore, everything that was and everything that will ever be is wholly given, not belonging to you, but freely used by you. And in this is His joy and your blessing. If you actually owned something in this world, you would subordinate it to yourself and make it a weapon of struggle against others. And your possession would grow, and there would be no limits to your delusion. So thank the Father for not placing the burden of ownership on your shoulders. Everything that passes through your hands comes from Him and returns to Him. and you're truly free from all heaviness of carrying what has no weight in divine dwelling, and from all fatigue of preserving what has no place in eternity. If you knew your absolute freedom right now in the space of your Father's boundless love, all your craving for phantoms of the visible world would end, and the Father's presence in your life would be strengthened forever. Do you want this? Do you want it with all your heart? That's the answer you need to find within yourself, and then hold it in your attention and not interfere in any way with the miracle continuing to happen. You, child, are learning love equal to your source. This learning is more like remembering, searching for what's already within you, like all the sounds of a flute are already hidden in its hollow body. But your learning will last exactly as long as you yourself want it to. A drop of diligence and attentive listening will do its work if you cast aside other goals or transform them and every task into achieving this single supreme goal. Believe me, your heart will rejoice in nothing else when at the border of worlds you survey your whole life. The entire spectacle of creation and all the play of matter is gathered before your eyes only for this. Abandon futile attempts to understand the Father. What exceeds all understanding cannot be explained in dry forms of limited constructs. Understanding through logical effort, where supposed unlived truth results from piling up constructs, is impossible. Your source cannot be grasped through mental constructs, just as the sky cannot be measured by footsteps. But you're capable of much more, to know His boundless nature in a way that was never open to anyone before. Having recognized it, to keep doing so, without any patterns revealing His capacity for infinite manifestation. You know the truth, but believe you don't. And I tell you, you haven't even forgotten it, because what constitutes your only foundation cannot be crossed out of an equation with a single variable. He equals you, where His infinity is comprehensible only through your infinity. And if He's still an unknown in the equation for you, it's only because you've abandoned all attention to yourself. Whatever part of the equation you diligently study, the second will reveal itself automatically. That's all the wisdom. But have you looked attentively at what you are? Have you fully understood that everything you considered your boundaries is nothing more than a temporary form distracting you from any study of what's unchanging in you? Subtract from everything you know what's temporary, and you'll discover the one who stands behind all time and all form. Your steps are already firm because you've accepted on faith the main postulate, your eternity. All that remains is to unite in that part where the temporary is invisible to the eye, and you're at the source. The phase where you wandered in darkness has passed. You yourself attracted truth to yourself, though not for a moment did you stop being it. Can your disbelief, like a fragile raft of ignorance in an ocean of wisdom, lead you in a false direction? Such a direction doesn't exist. Wherever you cast your gaze, everywhere is the ocean of your divine nature. And even if you choose to drift on the wreckage of disbelief, the ocean will give you time so that behind the murky fog of non-existence, you can see the boundless expanses of truth. I know you want the final point right away, where knowledge is exhausted and searching is abolished. But it would be a great disappointment to realize there's any final point in what's beyond boundaries, beyond endings. Everything that ends immediately begins, like a new turn of the spiral. Perception of boundaries is only possible in one range. As soon as completion happens, the range increases, and with it all understanding of ends and beginnings. Don't strive toward where supposedly all answers have been received. Such a place doesn't exist, just as there's no one who wouldn't know something. Instead of this obsessive striving, Look around and watch, listen, feel. All answers always were and will be right here, beside you. Because for the eternal, there's no before and after, only the one. You've always sought only this, in childhood games, in adult aspirations, in big and small joys. You strive to find what you lost, having forgotten your home. But the feeling of truth isn't lost. It doesn't belong to you. It is you. Whatever sorrow darkens your life, you continue the search for what's closer to you than skin, than your own breath, than any thought. As long as this striving is alive, even if not spoken by you, even if not comprehended, you're alive. The very second the striving disappears, you're lost to yourself, and with that loss, all your light is completely forgotten by you. Forgetting the need to return home while wandering through the labyrinth of illusion, and forgetting the need to return having finally crossed the threshold of home. These are different things. Losing the path isn't a problem. Completely ignoring the path home is dangerous because of stagnation. Orienting yourself toward the visible world is unacceptable in any questions of self-definition. What will you see with your physical gaze except the thickness of matter that has engulfed you? What will this matter tell you about who you are? Can garments, however royal they may be, reflect the infinity of your being? Until you gather the courage to look into the space that stands at the threshold of the material world, the mistake of identification will exist, and with it, your inability to return home. Is 1,000 years of wandering worth reinforcing your mistake by believing in it? But 1,000 years are also worth walking through to one day step onto the threshold of home. When the mistake is eliminated, home will reveal itself to your gaze, and with it, the one you were seeking. Just as a child getting used to their body doesn't stand up in one day and doesn't take a confident step to their parents' delight, so too will you gradually return memories of yourself and your dwelling in the comfort of your true home, getting used again to who you really are. And with this, we conclude part 6 of our journey. Remember, you never left home. You only forgot the way back. Self-love isn't a reward for achievements, but the source from which everything else is born. In the next part, we'll continue deepening this understanding. Stay in unity with your source, and we'll meet there again.